Member from the District 3 in Hudson. This is the Public Works Committee meeting for the City of Hudson. We are meeting on Monday evening, May 12th, 2025. First item is I'm going to call roll. Sarah Brook.
Here.
And Michael Kennedy.
Here.
Okay, all of our council members are present. Thank you so much. Also wanted to introduce our staff. To our left, to my left, excuse me, is Aaron McPhee Anderson, who is the city engineer. To my right is Michael Miraz, who is the director of Public Works and Parks. And further over one more spot is Deb Andrews, who is the executive assistant for that department. So next item is approval of minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Well, and I maybe should have blurted out first, but I do want to propose one change.
Okay.
If you could give me a moment.
Absolutely.
On the second page where we were discussing, it was actually an item, I'm on the wrong page, here we go. Discussion item, but it was not an action item about special assessments, where Aaron McPhee Anderson talked about the complications that are potential for Locust Street because it's going to be quite a renovation and an enhancement for the city, and whether that would be borne by the property owners or other methods. And my only objection was to the final sentence in that paragraph summarizing the discussion, which said the overall committee agreed, because we didn't take a vote, and I did have some dissenting ideas, so I would prefer to strike that sentence, if we may. So I am moving to strike the sentence, the overall committee agreed, from that part of the minutes.
Okay.
Moving that. Could I get a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Otherwise, the meeting is grinding to a halt.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Moved and seconded, and the meeting's all in favor of approving?
Aye.
Thank you. Let's move on to comments and suggestions. This is our time for public comments. So we welcome input from residents or property owners of Hudson of issues that might be of concern to them, something that's happening in their neighborhood, or another issue that the Public Works Committee might address or the staff here might have insight for. So we always do welcome that comment. And if there's no one coming forward tonight, let's move on to new business. And we are going to, I guess we discussed this in general before, but now we have a complete proposal. Discussion and possible action to approve the quote from Seal King in the amount of $4,672 to seal the walking path in the Carmichael Ridge development.
All right, I'll take this one. So I'll just briefly summarize the issue sheet. So as Joy pointed out, we did kind of discuss this at a previous meeting. So in the developer's agreement for the Carmichael Ridge development, which is the old golf course, in there it specifically states that the pathways and trails used to access the trunk storm sewer and sanitary sewer systems are maintained by the city of Hudson. And therefore, the HOA had reached out to my office, seeing that they are going to be doing a sealing project on the remaining trails in that development. And they were just curious, hey, we're hiring a company, they're going to be here, do you guys want to piggyback on our pricing and do your portion? So I told them we could look at that, but I would need another quote. And so they had gotten 2 quotes, and then a third one they weren't able to secure. So anyways, that being said, there was 2 quotes that were given for just the city's portion, which in your agenda packet, I did highlight kind of the trail that we actually maintain. And so for that stretch of trail was a stated amount in $4,672. We would take the funds from the trail maintenance CIP line item. So, having said that, staff is recommending approval.
I move to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion or questions?
I think that's probably a pretty good cost. They're already going to be there, set up to do the rest of the area.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think we're jumping on a good low
pricing.
cost for that. Yeah.
I do agree. I do have just a question in general about our trail system and the maintenance of them. So this would be a trail do we plow that, excuse me, in the winter?
If we need to get access, we do plow it, but typically not, just because of the severe slopes that are accompanied with this particular trail. It is very slippery, so we don't want to encourage anybody from tripping or slipping and falling during the winter months. So no, we normally do not plow this section, but if we do need to, we do.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. But the rest of the trail system, as you said, is
It's
private. It
private,
belongs to
yeah.
the
Yep.
HOA.
The HOA hires a contractor to do the rest of it. Yep.
Okay, so that's their decision if they want it
Yep.
to be plowed or open
Yep.
for the other sections.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments?
And so that leaves, because we normally spend 50,000 roughly a year on trails. So if I understand correctly, then is the rest for the O'Neill portion? No,
No.
that's not going to come out of that at all.
Correct,
Okay.
yep. So for next year, we would have, it'd be roughly 45,000 remaining in this year's fund, then we would add it to next year's
Next year,
50,000
okay.
to do a larger. And it does bring up a good point about trail maintenance, just in general. Obviously, they're asphalt pavement, just like a road is asphalt pavement, and we need to do a better job of maintaining the trails that are in good shape to make them last longer. So just a tidbit out there. I mean, obviously, resources are thin, so we try to do the best we can, but
Are there particular, I mean, this isn't on the agenda, so maybe another time, but I thought the same thing, just like newly paved streets, or we're going to try and take care of them and seal coat them a little quicker. It might seem like, why they're working on that street again, but there may be some other trails, but I guess you'll bring that to us next year.
Yeah.
With the plan of what needs to be maintained and
Yes.
what we can
Yeah.
afford to do.
yeah, it's a catch-22 because there's a lot of trails that need to be replaced. Obviously, we're aware of those, but then on the other hand, we have trails like the one along Hagan Street that was just redone here, a few
Right.
years ago that is due for some type of seal treatment, just like you would do at your driveway at home. So no different. But yeah, we'll bring proposals back next year as far as the best way to spend those funds to basically get their best bang for the buck.
Okay, did we vote? I'm sorry, I don't think we
No.
did yet. Thank you. I've got my Nana brain on today. That's what
Did you
my
vote?
I made a
granddaughter-
move,
Yeah,
yeah.
moved and
Wait,
I made a
second, so we
motion,
just, yeah.
Thank you. All
Yeah.
those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, apologize. Okay, so we don't have any old business on the agenda, but we have a number of project updates, which is great. Things are already starting and soon to start. So it's good to get updates on what's happening. Are you going to go over most of them, Erin?
I think so.
Okay.
So the first one, 11th Street reconstruction. So the update for that, I'm just kind of diving into the specifics, but the temporary mailboxes are installed and have been coordinated with the post office. I just mentioned that because there was a little bit of a delay with getting that coordinated, but it's all figured out. The contractor has completed the roadway removals and they're starting the roadway and trail grading operations starting at Cooley Road. They actually, if you see the big site kind of off of 94 off Crestview, that's actually for the 11th Street project.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's, the contractor got, right of way, temporary easement from WISTOT to use that space for their crushing operations. So they're basically taking the old pavement up, bringing it over there, crushing it, and then bringing it back for like the new aggregate base for the roadway. So that's kind of what's going on there. And then they'll be starting water main replacement this week from just Summer to Laurel. So the temporary water has been set up last week and I think finally passed the bacteria test. So that should be happening starting this week. And then I would say the main concerns that we've had so far have been, traffic control. And so I'm trying to work with the contractor to get some more barricades installed. It's a little bit of a process because we have to request it to them, then they go to their subcontractor. And since it's a WISTOP project, just going through the appropriate channels. So we are hoping to get a few more barricades up, like on the side streets. But I'm also thinking, there's less people trying to drive through the site now that it's kind of closed down. So typically we usually have that concern right when a project starts.
Right.
People just trying to figure out where to go. So,
Yeah, I'll just piggyback on that.
Yeah.
I've received a lot less phone calls over the last few business days about it, whereas the first few days it was nonstop. So people are obviously just figuring out where they can and can't go. So it seems to be doing a lot better.
And are people going east-west on Laurel? People do go through there.
Yeah.
Is that going to be at some point completely closed again? It has been closed several days.
yeah, I would say the overall consensus was that we are trying to keep the intersections open for cross traffic. I mean, especially because there's not a lot of connecting roads in the area with Summer and Laurel being closed down. So unless they're doing something right at that time at the intersection for it to be closed down. They're gonna try to keep it open. And, you know, I think at first they really did more of a hard closure because a lot of people were speeding through the construction site. So there was just some safety concerns. So they kind of just nipped it right away. And I think it worked.
Yeah.
You know, but the safety is number one. So now it's a lot better. I think people are just crossing now
Okay.
versus trying to cut through.
Right. Yeah, they have to adjust to it, like you said.
Yeah.
After a few days,
Yeah.
they realize. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, anything more on 11th Street?
No.
Okay. Next item is the O'Neill Road reconstruction project.
Yeah, so that one, not too many updates, but we are looking to schedule the pre-construction meeting with the contractor, and we include private utilities with that meeting, so that'll be kind of the first meeting to go over the contractor schedule. So they haven't told me anything about an anticipated schedule yet, but I've already been coordinating with the private utilities, so there is some work being done out there, and it's just related to the private utility relocations right now, if you're seeing stuff. But yeah, so more to come, hopefully after next week with that project.
That sounds good. And do they have a deadline?
I think
Later
we
in the
just
summer?
did it, you know, the typical, just kind of the end of the year, the middle to end of October as like a end date, so.
Not under as
I-
much pressure.
Yeah, so we'll see what they,
School traffic. Okay. Okay, then you have a report for us about Vine Street and Spruce Drive.
yes, so this one, there's been a lot of conversation about this intersection, I guess now after the reconstruction last year. So that's kind of what the handout is, just a visual representation of the intersection. The second page is actually the Diamond Drive intersection, just to, if wants to be a comparison of the two intersections. So we've been, you know, the Jacobson's Woods residents have reached out to us, a few different ones. They've also, it sounds like, discussed it at their homeowners association meeting, and they are just concerned with the safety of the intersection. Kind of the main concern raised seems to be the raised median on the west side of the intersection. So if you're kind of looking down at the sheet on the left side, you see there's a raised median on the right-hand side of where a vehicle would turn. So I think there's kind of a few different, you know, concerns going on. Part of it is people driving from going westbound and then taking a right into the neighborhood have to slow down to take a right, and people are maybe trying to get around them, so then they're kind of head on with someone trying to take a left turn into Jacobson's Woods. And then the left turn median, just the island is just a little bit more unconventional from what you would see with it being on your right hand side. Also, I think one of the driving factors is also the hill. So I don't know how often people drive this way, but there's a little bit of this intersection is on the crest of a hill, so it does make the visibility of the other side of the intersection not as visible. So I guess people are just feeling unsafe, I guess, about the left turning lane of the intersection. So we have initially, you know, we've talked about it at public safety. We've talked about it, you know, internally. We were going to propose, and I mean, it did get approved at public safety to add some additional striping and kind of then see how it goes. If people are, you know, unsure where the through lane is, or, you know, just trying to make it a little more obvious. It sounds like the homeowners association is probably gonna give us a signed petition to just get rid of the raised median on that west-hand side. There's no issues with the east-hand side, the pedestrian refuge, but this other side doesn't have the refuge. So we'll probably, at this point, gonna look at change ordering, maybe getting rid of the median in one of our current bid projects, like with the O'Neill contractor, or maybe adding it to one of our other projects that haven't bid yet, that street maintenance and pavement replacement as a bid alternate, and just kind of go from there. So, I mean, we're really just trying to provide an update. There's not necessarily anything to like approve right now. It's just trying to continue the conversation about it with Public Works.
Yep. Yep.
So could you restate the island that you're thinking of removing?
Yeah, the one on the west side of the intersection, so the left side without the pedestrian crossing.
So we did reach out to SEH, who helped design this road to begin with, to get their thoughts from their traffic engineers. And there's a couple options that we have, is just removing it completely and restriping it, kind of sort of like Diamond Drive, or moving that island to the north. So basically where that island is now, moving it to where the left turn lane is, and then moving the left turn lane on the opposite side, which is more of your conventional, system that you see throughout the community. So, needless to say, just kind of working through that, but something that obviously the residents are concerned about, and we're looking to address it sometime later this year as part of one of our other projects to make it right, so.
Okay, and on the east side of that intersection, where obviously there's certain times of the week where left-hand turns into St. Pat's, am I correct?
Yes.
St. Pat's Catholic Church is a high traffic time, but I would guess that there's also a lot of intervals where that turn lane, I know we did traffic counts and everything. Do you still feel that left-hand turn lane is vital, or would the area
Into
flow
St.
better?
Pat's?
Yes.
Or, oh,
Am I correct that?
yeah, into the St. Pat's driveway?
Yes.
Oh, we didn't actually do traffic counts at that driveway.
Okay.
I guess
That's
so.
that one. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm
Is that the
thinking of
one you're
this one.
thinking, or
This
are you
is
thinking
into
of
the-
It's
I'm at the
subdivision.
wrong corner.
Oh,
You're
okay,
right.
okay. So
This
you-
is,
In the Spruce Drive, the development
and
there.
there's a development there. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so the
Okay.
left turn lane into Spruce,
Sure,
onto
all right.
Spruce.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was just going back to what you were saying about how through traffic might sometimes wait for people to turn right into Jacobson's Woods.
Yeah.
And that we don't actually have a through lane there that's only for through traffic. But we do have a school very close, and so hopefully people aren't driving quickly to get where they're going. I know
Yep.
that happens, but
Yeah.
we do have one guest here tonight. Do you have any questions? Would you care to come to the mic and address?
Sure. You want to ask? You said most of the concerns that we have. If you get rid of the island completely,
I'm going to give you a copy of this. And if you'd come to the microphone and just introduce yourself, just for the records. Thank you, and then it will be recorded, and there you can see that diagram.
sure, thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Rich Meyer, 1705 Stake Circle, which is in Jacobson Woods. The island, we would like to just get rid of the island. And kind of mirror what the Y has up there and make it look the same. At our meeting, I heard a bunch of stories. We've had people having to drive on the island to get out of the way of people coming westbound. Actually have to get up on the island to get away from people.
Yeah.
Because there's no out. Once you're up there, you're stuck.
Yeah.
Somebody's coming at you, you have no out.
Right. The one thing I'm fine with getting rid of the island the one thing with keeping the island and moving it to the north is if those people are coming westbound and they go around a person taking a right into Jacobson's Wood, seeing that visible island makes them have to get back over into the through lane to go down the hill. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Whereas if you remove it, you remove that kind of that visual obstacle. I'm open to, like I said, we'll confer with our,
But if you look at those islands, if you look at them all around,
yeah,
they're never on your right side. They're always on your left side,
yeah.
right? Have you seen any on your right side if there's not one on your left side?
Other communities, but it's one of the first ones that we have in town here.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's very odd. And another, when you're coming up there, the people coming west, they don't know what you're doing. Because you're coming out of nowhere because you're coming from a
that
hill.
hill, yeah.
And then we've had people that are coming westbound actually stop because they don't know what the person going eastbound is doing. And then the people behind them almost run into
Rear
them.
end them and stuff.
Yeah, there's all kinds of, at our meeting, we had all kinds of people having stories about their
No,
experiences.
And so, I mean, it's good. This is what, community process is. There's obviously some issues going on there, and we'll look to solve them and rectify them and make it good, because obviously we want everybody to feel safe out there, and if something's wrong, we'll fix it. So,
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for being here. And thanks for addressing that. I have had people mention that they were a little confused by it. And obviously the residents in that area are dealing with it on a regular basis. That's an engineering, like you said, the experience of driving on the other side of the island is seen in other communities for traffic control. It's just
Yeah.
not been done here.
It's one of those things, it happens, rarely, but sometimes what looks good on paper doesn't really translate to real world living, and this is one of those instances. And if everyone obeyed the law and drove the speed limit, it probably wouldn't be a problem, but we know how that is in Hudson. So yeah, we're running into some things here that need to be fixed.
All right, well, thanks for considering that, and then you'll get back to us when you
Yeah.
see what it might cost.
Yep.
Great, thank you. All right, next item, First Street and Locust Street intersection safety enhancements.
Yeah, so this was also discussed at Public Safety quite a while ago. So obviously there was an incident down there that happened a few years ago where late at night a car kind of flew through the intersection into the park and hit someone. And so we're looking to do some temporary safety improvements, especially as we come closer to the busy season, and then incorporating some more long-term safety improvements with the Locust Street project in 2027. So with that being said, I did look at some various options, and I think the cheapest reasonable option right now that's going to provide the best bang for the buck is we have some Jersey barriers on hand that we can just move down there and basically place right kind of on the sidewalk, but in line with Locust Street, so that if someone does blow that intersection, that they would run into those facilities and keep people from running into the park. So trying to get schedule staff to get those set before the Memorial Day weekend, before the busy season starts. So just why I want to provide an update to everyone that's going to be happening, so when you see them down there, you know what's going on.
Thanks so much for doing that. I'm appreciative, and I know lots of people in the community are as well. And this is just a temporary solution, because kind of what's next up is talking about that whole Locust Street. So that's something that will be considered as we move forward with that whole redesign.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
And again, thank you to your staff for responding to that, and you're saying temporary, but they'll be there for the whole summer?
Yeah,
When
temporary,
you get
but
them in.
temporary, permanent,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
For the summer months until you're,
Yeah.
sounds good. Thank you.
Semi-permanent?
Yeah, there you go, semi-permanent.
Great, thank you. Yes, next item is Locust Street public engagement.
Yep. Okay, so this one, we have scheduled an open house. So it'll be Wednesday, May 21st from 4 to 6. We do actually we're working with our printing place that we work with to send out invites. So people should be getting them hopefully pretty soon here. And so the mailing list, 'cause you'll probably be interested, it's directly the properties along Locust from 1st to 3rd. But then we also extended the mailing invites to kind of the whole neighborhood behind here. So from 3rd to 7th. To the east of Vine, between Vine and Walnut. So there's kind of, that whole area is getting the invite. And then outside of that, if people are paying attention to the website, I'll put something on the news flash for the website. I do have now a Locust Street webpage on our city's website, so that would be under departments, community development, city projects. So I have the open house information online. And then we also have initial survey that's been going on probably for a month now. We've had about 100 people respond, which is actually pretty good for like an online survey. So that's will be presented at the open house. There'll be some conceptual layouts for different alternatives along Locust Street at the open house. And then, so just kind of continuing that conversation. So I'm excited for this first one to see how much, interaction we get.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's just the update for that.
That's awesome.
Great.
Thank you.
Any comments on any of those updates or questions? Thank you. Lots going on for sure.
I do have one more project update
Sure.
that is not on the agenda, and it's very important. So Deb and I received a call this morning from Waste Management. In order to increase efficiencies in their delivery and pickup system, they are going to a 1-day-a-week refuse collection. Okay. So they said that on Wednesday, all residential garbage will be collected on Wednesdays only moving forward. Okay. So they wanted to start it like now, and Deb's like, timeout. So what's going to happen is she talked to Tim and chime in with anything that you, if I say something wrong, but Waste Management is going to have to mail out basically an informational letter to all of the residential addresses in the city of Hudson explaining this change so that people are aware of it. They're going to be putting out some social media stuff. We'll put it on our website. But I just want to, they're going to give, our senior account executive is going to give us a memo as far as what the changes are, what that means, that we'll post. But I just want to kind of start here. I'll say the same thing at council meeting, try to get the word out as best we can. Obviously, it's not going to reach everybody. We're going to get a ton of phone calls, but it's a big change for the residents. But all refuse collection will be on Wednesdays. Recycling will stay the same
Every other week.
every other week.
On Wednesday, though.
Yep.
What about our, I'm assuming that our contract language must allow them to do this since we just signed a new contract with them.
Yep.
They can change these things.
Yep.
How many different days? I mean, my neighborhood is Wednesday.
So right now it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays.
Oh, it's 4 days,
Yep.
okay.
Yep. So they're basically just going to have a fleet of garbage trucks in town on Wednesdays and get the whole city picked up on one day. So
And the yard waste?
yard waste is the same, recycling's the same. It's just the residential refuse garbage.
And I'm assuming in that notice, they'll tell us when that transition will happen, but do you know?
Yeah.
do you-
So we told them just start June. Would that be June 3rd? That first week in June would be,
We said we were okay with that, but
Yeah.
we need more.
Weeks, okay.
yeah. So that's 3 weeks away to try to get the word out as best we can. And I don't know if it's worth putting something in the paper or not.
Probably, that is a
Or
good
just a
idea, in
new-
my
news-
opinion.
Or
News and
They
announcement.
might, yeah, they have briefs, you know.
Yeah,
that they
news
might
briefs.
put
Yeah,
something
yeah.
in to inform people.
Because you're going to get the people that are not going to read their mail, they're not going to get anything, and they're just going to.
Right.
Trash out.
Right.
They're going to call us and.
Yep.
Well, the Monday and Tuesday people, if they wait long enough, Wednesday will come. The
they'll
Thursday
get-
people,
yeah.
if they didn't realize it, won't have a
It'll-
whole week
yeah.
to wait.
It'll be a mess for the first month, but then hopefully.
That's what that's kind of what they're
Let's
thinking.
get a pool going.
Yes,
Phone
they
calls.
have the
Oh,
opportunity
yeah.
to still come back because they're all going to River Falls to the transfer station. And so they'll be able to come back and pick up all those misses.
Okay. All right, well,
Hopefully there won't be too many.
Be prepared.
be adaptive, right.
It's all what you're used to. You know, your day used, you know, maybe when you moved in, it could have been Mondays. You know,
Yeah.
so it's just, it's, you know,
Yeah, people can adjust, but
and if it's efficient, I think it'll, you know, make Hudson look nicer that maybe one day a week, everyone's got their garbage, Wednesdays, right? Everyone's got everything out.
Yep.
It'll
But the
make it
weekend it'll
easier to
look nicer.
coordinate construction. Yeah.
Yeah,
all right, Mike, positive spin.
Yeah.
you know me.
Good.
That's good.
Easier for plowing too.
I'm wondering, since this is a cost efficiency and efficiency from them, they're passing any of that back to us.
Good question. I did not ask that.
Yeah. Okay, well, we have one item listed under communications, items for future agenda, which I had mentioned it. Mike, you've also mentioned, it, I think even at council recently, about, so I might as well, since we were just talking about waste management, and this was the case for all the companies that were bidding
Yep.
for us, that they were no longer going to provide sort of the curbside, grab the paper bag and toss it in the truck service. And we had to really negotiate hard to get it to continue for this year. So we're going to start talking, or I know you've already been giving it some thought, but as a committee, we need to help brainstorm if there's other options for
Yeah.
our residents. They will have the yard waste dumpster that they can utilize. There's a set fee for that and so on, so
Right.
it takes up space. But anyway, so we're going to have that on a future agenda when you have information or ready for us. Does anyone else have another item that you'd like to see on our agenda?
And perhaps we'll have it at the next city council, an update on the 6th Street steps. Or maybe we'll have it back here.
Well, we signed the LOE. They haven't.
Yeah, they
Bolton-
haven't started anything.
They haven't looked
but
at-
we
give
did
us-
get the, yeah, they haven't, I haven't heard any
scheduled an
updates
inspection
yet.
date.
Okay,
Nope.
But
okay, so and sure, you'll get that to us as soon as you have
So the
that.
engineering firm will be getting started on that work.
yes, yeah,
Deadline
yep,
or
we've sent them all the
assess it for
signed
us. Okay.
LOE, so. yep.
Thank you. Lots of projects for sure. Any other comments or thoughts for the future?
We'll do adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor, say aye.
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 We are now adjourned.